We begin with Daniel Neuer, assistant to Etienne Bertrand, a sales manager at a publishing firm that is publishing author Sebastian P. Huscher's new book. When Huscher doesn't respond to communications from the firm, Daniel is assigned to go to the Huscher mansion and find out what's going on. As Daniel explores the empty mansion, he hears the song from a music box, which seems to be connected to the disappearances. The music grows louder as he gets closer to and discovers an abnormal door in Huscher's office, which he enters, but is then unable to exit. After not hearing from Daniel for 3 days, Sophie Van Den End, Daniel's ex-wife, learns from Etienne where he was sent, and they go to the mansion separately looking for him. Around the same time, Alexander Laskin, one of the Huscher's housekeepers, returns from a trip, and Alina Ramos, an electrician, responds to an earlier request to fix the power at the mansion. The four never encounter each other while exploring, but instead come into contact with the Presence, an evil force that constantly stalks and attempts to murder them. They learn that Masha Laskin, another housekeeper and Alexander's wife, Saul Huscher, Sebastian's son, Julia Huscher, Sebastian's daughter, and Catherine Huscher, Sebastian's wife, have all gone missing as well. They have left behind many clues from their disappearances, such as drawings, tapes, and notes. Finally, they find Daniel and call for help, but there's still no sign of Sebastian, and there are many more questions. After Daniel has been rescued and put in the hospital, he awakens from a nightmare about a woman named Dr. Bernice Prestigard. Lydia Salgari, Daniel's sobriety sponsor and friend, shows Daniel the items he had on him in the mansion, the most important clue being evidence that Huscher sent the music box to Isaac Farber, a friend of Huscher's and an owner of Farber & Sons Antique Store, which he runs with his daughter, Erica Farber. Daniel decides to go visit the shop to talk to Isaac and figure out about the baffling music box. Erica is returning home that night to her apartment, which is located next to the antique store. Renee Artigas, a selfless police officer, is on duty and receives a request from a restaurant next to the antique store to investigate strange noises heard coming from the store. They find the door's key hidden nearby under a flower pot, unlock the door, and find the store empty and eerily quiet. They find more letters from both Isaac and Huscher and learn that Isaac acquired the music box from a woman named Ariadne LeGrant Amsberg. They follow clues to a bloodied wardrobe, which leads to Isaac's locked office. Breaking the door, they find Isaac dead, having hanged himself, with the music box playing on the desk next to his body. Deciding to return the music box to its owner, they bring it to Ariadne's worn-down home. She answers, and they give her the music box. Before they leave, she asks them if they listened to it, and they confirm they have. Daniel continues to have nightmares and hallucinations while staying at Lydia's apartment for a few days while he fully recovers. Daniel travels to the State University of Arts and Humanities, where Huscher worked as a professor. Along the way towards Huscher's office, Daniel runs into Grace Richards, one of Huscher's students, and Omar Nassari, another professor at the university and a close friend of both Huscher and Grace, and the two of them join the search for Huscher. They go to Huscher's office, where they find a clue leading to the archives, where Huscher was researching something. They find a book about the LeGrant family, entitled European Families Great and Small, Volume 17, The House of LeGrant, inside of which Huscher wrote a note about the newspaper events archive. In the archive, they follow more clues to determine the date Huscher looked up in the microfiche catalog and retrieve the relevant article, which details how the LeGrant family suffered a violent robbery, leaving only the youngest, baby Ariadne LeGrant, alive. The final lead takes them to the Great Library, where they find the table Huscher had used and the source of his fixation. A book called Natura Tenebrosa, or Sinister Nature, written by Edgar Odell and William Lasque, LeGrant's companions, that tells of all the investigations carried out by Argos LeGrant. Reading about his last journey, just before he created the music box, they learn of St. Cecilia's Abbey, named after the patron saint of music, and the cursed musical concert that no one escaped from alive, where Huscher is now gone. Huscher is exploring the Abbey, where he learns a mirror lamp method of discerning the amount of time remaining before the curse kills a person from the records left behind by the cursed monks. Testing the method out, Huscher sits in front of a mirror, observes the reflection, turns his lamp off, then back on, and repeats, looking for the horrors to appear, as the more that appear in the reflection, the closer he is to death. Daniel's group arrives at the Abbey, and find a cold, desolate landscape of broken-down ruins and disrepair, completely abandoned since the 1912 concert. Ernest Finnegan, a renowned architect and a close friend of Huscher's, meets Daniel and informs him that Huscher requested his help to gain access to the Abbey 4 days prior, and then told him to leave without following him in. Finding the main door inaccessible due to disrepair, they find alternative ways in and continue their search for Huscher. From written records they find, they learn that the musical score of the song played by the music box was originally found in the ancient city of Byzantium, and was played by the musicians at the 1912 concert, causing everyone to go insane and kill each other. Argos had investigated this event, coming to the Abbey, finding the musical score, and having it made into the music box's song. Finding another mysterious door, similar to the one in the mansion, they unlock it after obtaining the 4 keys belonging to the prior, the librarian, the treasurer, and the abbot. Daniel insists on going through it himself, as he has been to the alternate dimension dubbed the Elsewhere before. He enters the door to find a seemingly normal hallway located somewhere in the Abbey, with piles of bodies littering some of the rooms. He finds Husher dead on the floor in front of the mirror he last sat at, now broken. As Daniel exits the room, he is faced with more hallucinations of an endless hallway, an abyss outside the windows, locked rooms, a floor of blackened bones, several crosses hanging on the ceiling, and a mirror which shows a demonic version of him slitting his own throat. He then finds himself within a memory of Ariadne as a child and Bernice, her doctor. On the desk is the diary of Argos, which Daniel takes and leaves the Abbey, returning to his apartment. Sifting through Argos' diary, Daniel discovers the majority is incoherent or illegible scribbling, but at the end is Argos' confession and the truth of the violent robbery that occurred. The presence deceived him into murdering his wife, Natalie, and daughter, Elaine, showing him visions of them as evil entities trying to steal his youngest daughter, Ariadne. After regaining his sanity and realizing what he'd done, Argos hanged himself. At the back of the journal, Daniel finds a note from Bernice, a therapist working at the Jeremy Hartwood Mental Hospital. Daniel deduces that she must have read the journal and been the one tasked with examining young Ariadne's mental state. Due to his weakened state, he calls Lydia and asks her to go to the mental hospital while he tries to decipher more of the diary and goes back to Ariadne's home. At the mental hospital, Lydia finds notes and recordings from Bernice detailing her findings in the Ariadne and music box investigations. She goes into detail about young Ariadne's mental state and how she is extremely closed off from people. A film reveals that somehow young Ariadne knew what elder Ariadne would look like in the future, and that she'd meet Daniel, even detailing his appearance. In the first sound recording made by Bernice, she explains that she went to the former home of the Legrandts and slept there for a night, at young Ariadne's request. Placing candles all around the room, she lays on a mattress and falls asleep, where she has a dream. In the dream, she explores an unfamiliar environment featuring a painting of a hanging Argos, a blood-eyed head bust of herself, and a painting of herself at her desk with a music box in front of her. When she leaves the room, she somehow ends up in the same room again, but with differing items, such as the painting of Isaac Farber at his desk with the music box and a picture of him hanging. Yet the statue of Bernice remains. The final room features a painting of elderly Ariadne with the music box, Daniel with the music box, and once again the statue of Bernice. Eventually she is scared awake by a demonic version of herself. In the second sound recording, Bernice details another dream that she had while at the Legrandts. In this dream, she explores a twisted version of the mental hospital, filled with rust, poison, and death. Different versions of herself beg her to continue going down, to continue figuring out what is going on with the cursed music box. She is attacked, but does not die, and is instead put into a room with the words, "Only one way out," written where the door should be. As the lights flicker on and off, different options to commit suicide appear on the table, and eventually she drinks a bottle of poison, but instead of dying, she wakes up. In the third and final sound recording, Bernice details her third dream, which shows her how to stop the horror by returning the music box to the presence. As she awakens, she begins to feel hopeful, as she now only has to do it, but her words begin to slow as she has run out of time and dies. Lydia calls Daniel, relaying this information to him. He travels to Ariadne's home and asks her where the music box is. She tells him it's upstairs, he grabs it, and, using the mirror lamp method, enters the Elsewhere. He experiences the different nightmares that Husher, Isaac, Argos, and Bernice faced when they were alive. Husher's nightmare reveals how Masha, Julia, Saul, and Catherine all died. Masha was locked in a room and was killed, Julia was trapped behind the mysterious door, and Catherine and Saul hid in his room until the presence entered and murdered them. Afterward, a large door opens, and Daniel deposits the music box. As he tries to leave, hundreds of bodies chase him and try to escape as well. Daniel barely makes it to the door before it closes and brings him back to reality. As he tells Ariadne that the song will never play again, he passes out on the couch. When he wakes up, it is pitch black, and Ariadne is still staring outside the window. When he asks her to turn on the light, she tells him that the presence doesn't like the light, but it likes the song. She then places a second music box down on the coffee table, one with a different inscription, "To Elaine, my firstborn in my pride," revealing that Argos made one for each daughter. The presence appears, consumes Daniel, and transports him to the Husher mansion, where he is now a part of the horror.